The man who asks a question is a fool for a minute. The man who does not ask is a fool for life. These words from ancient Chinese philosopher Confucius perfectly capture why I need you to stay with me throughout this video. Because today we're diving deep into something that affects every single one of us, yet most of us haven't stopped to truly think about it. Privacy. Before you click away thinking, oh, another privacy video, let me tell you why this isn't your typical fear-mongering content about hackers and data breaches. This is about understanding why, throughout history, the wisest minds have fiercely protected their privacy, and why in today's hyper-connected world, this ancient wisdom matters more than ever. You see, privacy isn't just about hiding things. It's about maintaining your inner fortress, a concept that the great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote about extensively in his personal journals, which later became meditations. He believed that our inner world, our thoughts and our personal space were sacred territories that needed protection from external chaos and interference. Think about it. Why do you close your curtains at night? Why do you lower your voice when discussing personal matters? Why do you feel uncomfortable when someone reads over your shoulder? These aren't learned behaviors. They're deeply ingrained instincts that have evolved with us for good reasons. As we progress through this video, we'll explore how privacy intersects with personal growth, mental clarity, and decision-making, all through the lens of ancient wisdom and modern reality. We'll see why people like Mark Zuckerberg, who built an empire on harvesting personal data, ironically bought all the houses around his own home for privacy. We'll understand why successful people often become more private as they achieve more, not less. No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have, and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. This wisdom from Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, perfectly applies to our relationship with privacy in the digital age. We may not have complete control over all our data, but we can be mindful about what we choose to share and protect. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Did you know that some of the most successful people in history had dedicated thinking spaces where they could be completely private? Bill Gates is famous for his Think Weeks, where he isolates himself from the world to read, think, and strategize. This isn't a new concept. Ancient philosophers like Epictetus advocated for similar practices, saying, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things." But here's where it gets interesting, and why I need you to stay with me. Privacy isn't just about physical space anymore. In our digital age, it's become something far more complex and far more valuable. Every click, every like, every search query creates a digital footprint that tells a story about who you are, often more accurately than you could tell it yourself. The Stoics taught that true freedom comes from controlling what's within our power and accepting what isn't. In today's world, your privacy falls into both categories, and understanding this distinction is crucial. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about the last time you had a truly private moment. No phone, no internet, no cameras, just you and your thoughts. How long ago was that? If you're struggling to remember, you're not alone. And this is exactly why smart people are increasingly carving out these private spaces in their lives. Consider this. Studies have shown that the mere presence of a smartphone reduces cognitive capacity, even when the device is turned off. The constant potential for interruption, the awareness of being connected, affects our ability to think deeply and clearly. The ancients understood this principle in their own context. Seneca wrote, "Nothing, to my way of thinking, is a better proof of a well-ordered mind than a man's ability to stop just where he is and pass some time in his own company." But here's where things get really interesting. And if you've been thinking about skipping ahead, this is where you need to pay attention. The relationship between privacy and power is something that smart people have understood for centuries. Let me share a perspective that might change how you think about your own privacy forever. Consider this: the more someone knows about you, the more power they have over you. This isn't just true for individuals, it's true for corporations and governments too. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it." In our context, true digital freedom isn't achieved by having access to every app and platform, but by being selective about what we engage with and what information we share. Let me give you a concrete example. Have you ever noticed how after having a private conversation about something, ads for that exact thing start appearing on your phone? Most people laugh it off or accept it as the price of using free services. But smart people understand something crucial here. When you're not paying for the product, you are the product. The ancient Stoics had a concept called voluntary discomfort, deliberately choosing to experience some hardship to build resilience and maintain freedom. In our modern context, this might mean choosing to use more private, less convenient services, or taking the time to adjust privacy settings, even when it's easier not to bother. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This profound observation becomes even more relevant in our age of oversharing and digital exhibition. The happiest and most successful people often share the least about their personal lives online. They understand that constant external validation and surveillance creates a kind of mental prison. Let's talk about something that might make you uncomfortable: the amount of data that's already out there about you. But instead of feeling helpless, let's approach this the way a Stoic would. As Seneca advised, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The key is not to panic about what's already out there, but to make wise choices moving forward. Smart people understand that privacy is like compound interest. Small actions taken consistently over time yield massive results. Every time you decline to share your location, every time you use encrypted messaging, every time you opt out of data collection, you're investing in your future freedom and peace of mind. Here's something fascinating. Studies have shown that people behave differently when they know they're being watched. This is called the observer effect. And it's not just about changing your behavior for cameras. When you know your data is being collected, when you know your messages might be read, when you know your searches are being tracked, you start self-censoring. You become less creative, less authentic, less you. This is where the Stoic concept of inner citadel becomes incredibly relevant. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, taught that we should build an inner fortress that external forces cannot penetrate. In our digital age, this means creating spaces in our lives where we can think, create, and exist without the constant awareness of being observed. But let's be practical for a moment. I'm not suggesting you go off the grid or throw away your smartphone. That's not what smart privacy is about. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. The goal is to be intentional about your privacy choices, understanding that each choice either strengthens or weakens your position. Think about successful people you admire. Notice how as they became more successful, they often became more private, not less. This isn't a coincidence. They understand something that Seneca observed thousands of years ago. The more things we have, the more we become slaves to them. In our context, the more data we share, the more we become slaves to the digital platforms that collect it. Now you might be wondering, if privacy is so important, why don't we hear more successful people talking about it? Well, that's exactly the point. As Marcus Aurelius advised, do what you need to do without bragging about it. Smart people protect their privacy quietly, systematically, and consistently. Let's explore something that might surprise you: the connection between privacy and mental health. Studies have shown that people who are more private about their achievements, relationships, and daily lives often report higher levels of life satisfaction. This aligns perfectly with what Epictetus taught. If you want to improve, be content. Don't be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Consider the paradox of our time. We've never been more connected, yet rates of loneliness and anxiety are at historic highs. Could it be that our constant digital exposure, our perpetual visibility, is part of the problem? The Stoics would certainly think so. As Seneca observed, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. But here's where it gets really interesting. And this is crucial information I've been building toward. Smart people understand that privacy isn't just about protection, it's about power. When you control your personal information, you control your narrative. When you control your narrative, you control your destiny. Let me share a personal observation that crystallizes this point. Have you noticed how the truly powerful people in any organization are often the hardest to find information about online? While others are busy building their personal brand through constant sharing, these individuals maintain what the Stoics would call a strategic silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journals, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In our context, while data harvesting companies want you to share everything, the best response is to be selective and intentional about what you share. This isn't paranoia, it's wisdom. Here's a thought experiment. Imagine if everything you've ever typed into a search engine, every message you've sent, every location you've visited while carrying your phone became public tomorrow. How would that affect your life, your relationships, your career? Smart people live as if this could happen, not because it will, but because this mentality leads to better decisions. Now, you might be thinking, but I have nothing to hide. This is where another piece of Stoic wisdom becomes relevant. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The issue isn't whether you have something to hide. It's whether you have something to protect: your peace of mind, your freedom of thought, your ability to make decisions without undue influence. As we wrap up this exploration, let me leave you with something powerful to consider. Privacy, like freedom, isn't something you miss until it's gone. And once it's gone, it's incredibly difficult to get back. The smart people who value their privacy understand this at a deep level. They know, as Marcus Aurelius did, that very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. So, what's the actionable takeaway from all this? Start thinking about privacy not as something that limits you, but as something that empowers you. As Seneca advised, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. In our digital age, maintaining your privacy is a form of preparation that keeps you ready for whatever opportunities or challenges life might bring. Remember, every time you're about to share something, ask yourself what the Stoics would. Does this serve my purpose? Does this maintain my inner fortress? Does this protect my peace of mind? These questions, though ancient in origin, have never been more relevant than they are today. Let me end with this thought. In a world where everything is increasingly public, privacy is becoming the ultimate luxury. And like all luxuries, its value only increases as it becomes more scarce. The smartest people already understand this. Now you do too. If this video has made you think differently about privacy, even just a little bit, then I've accomplished what I set out to do. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Similarly, waste no more time arguing about whether privacy matters. Start protecting yours. Thank you for staying with me through this exploration. If you found value in these insights, make sure to like and subscribe for more content that bridges ancient wisdom with modern challenges. And remember, the most important conversations are often the ones no one else gets to hear.